Hello everybody and welcome back. So, Pokemon Bronze was fun while we could play it, but now it's time for our next adventure. Today we're going to start our attempt at completing the Pokedex, so I guess the Professor Oak's challenge, without trading outside of the simulation. Inside trades are okay, we have to do that to complete what we can, but we're going to try to do it without trading outside of the game. Now hold on, I know what you're thinking. Well, that's not possible. And usually I would say you're right. But with Gen 1 games, they are riddled with glitches, which we're going to exploit in an attempt to complete the Pokedex without trading outside of our game. So, let's get to it. New game. Professor Oak's going to tell us welcome to the world of Pokemon, and he's going to ask me what my name is, because at this time, he doesn't care if I'm a boy or girl. Good on you, Oak. Good on you for being gender fluid. So Pokemon Yellow is kind of weird, because it's the first game where they attempted to make the sprites match up with the anime. I mean, the original red and green sprites are atrocious compared to these, but the red and blue ones for America were actually quite refined compared to red and green sprites. Notice the subtle anime reference, Ash. But no, our name is Dolan, which will be our name in most playthroughs cases. Since we tossed our friend Josh Reviews Inks a shout out last time, let's name the rival Brando in honor of Brandon Syme. If you guys haven't seen his channel, go check it out. He makes a lot of cool Smash Bros. Content. Like every Pokemon game, we'll start out in our room, ignoring our up-to-date console we have, and we're heading out. From here, we head towards the tall grass, and Professor Oak stops us. Hey, wait, it's dangerous to go alone. Oh god, a Pikachu! I'll use my Professor abilities to capture it without weakening it first try. Now quick, come with me for the mandatory tutorial fight. So we're forced to follow Oak back to his lab, where there is one singular Pokeball waiting for us. Your rival shows up uninvited, throws a bitch fit, and pouts until he gets his way. And it was meant for us. But Brando's like, no, fuck you, I want this one. So he steals our starter Pokemon, which is an Eevee. That's okay, Brando. You can have this one. What? I'm gonna make Eradicate pay for that later. Now that Professor Oak looks like a dickhead, he decides to give us the Pikachu we just caught. Yay, the super elusive Pikachu that lives in Viridian Forest. That's super not hard to find. Ah. We're naming it Peaches. Peaches-Chew. Peachachu. Pika-Ichus? Peaches. And after stealing our Pokemon, our rival has the audacity to challenge us to a battle, so you know we're gonna beat that little shit bloody. He looked at me funny. Let's battle! Oh look, it's the Eevee that we should have had that totally got fucking stolen from us. Let's shock it to death. We beat down a random dog with a mouse, and we gain a level out of it. What? Unbelievable, I picked the wrong Pokemon. No, fuckface, you took my Pokemon! Fuck you! Be glad that Espeon and Umbreon don't exist, cause your bitch ass would never get friendship high enough, you fucking thief. Pikachu doesn't like us very much right now, but we're gonna use a glitch to change that. You can take the potion you get in your PC when you first start the game out of your room, and give it to Pikachu when he has full health. It won't register as anything's happening, but Pikachu registers it every time you use something on him as growing his friendship. So after a couple minutes of clicking back and forth like this, you'll see he's giving me a fist up, fuck yeah, I like you, dude. Leave town and find a Pidgey toting a package. We fuck him up and then go back to Professor Oak and say, hey, this Pidgey stole your mail. It's genius. He wanted to live in the Master Ball because it's the most comfy Pokeball ever made. So after being super grateful, we rescued Oak's Master Ball. He's going to gift us with the quest of filling the Pokedex. And then Brando runs in, he's like, me too, Grandpa. I suck so hard. Oak uses his Professor Magic to teleport the books that were on the back table to our pocket. And from there we head out to start our quest to fill the Pokedex. So like I said before, we're going to be exploiting glitches in this run. Yellow version, there's an extra bug catcher, which is this asshole right here I walked in front of. I'm not fighting him, I was only showing you him at the moment. So we avoid as many battles as possible, make it to Pewter City, and buy 2 escape ropes. So now that we have our escape ropes, we can use the Max Trainer Distance glitch, which if you don't know, essentially is a trainer that sees you from the farthest distance possible in game to battle you. So what you do is you either use Fly, Teleport, or in the early stage of the game here, use an escape rope. And the only way you can do it is if you have to mash the start button before the trainer can actually see you. The trainer sees you, your start button pops up, you use the escape rope to leave the area. From that point, the game still thinks you're in a battle, so this disables your start menu, and the only way to fix it is to get into another battle. Now this is tough and it took a few tries, but essentially, you see him in my menu, I use my escape rope, and he's gonna be like, what? Too bad, bitch. If you're going through all this trouble, you need to make sure that you spawn in the town before Viridian Forest, not Pewter City. So like I said, we need to trigger a battle to get our start menu back. So essentially when you warp out of battle, the game stores that information, I don't exactly know where, but essentially it holds it, and it'll turn it into a random encounter after you unfreeze your menu. What I've learned is the Pokemon's level will always be 7 unless you use Growl. You can use Growl 6 times to drop its level down to 1, which essentially is something Gen 1 games didn't have. There's no such thing as level 1 Pokemon. And by doing so, it usually gives them negative XP. Anyway, we lost to Brando, but his last Pokemon we encountered was an Eevee, but fuck that Eevee, we were close. From here, the text from the battle plays when you walk into the forest and your random encounter starts. We were hoping for Nidoking, but a Nidoqueen is just as good because she needs a Moonstone to evolve, and there are a limited number of Moonstones in the game. So now we're going to switch her to the front of our party after we add her to the Pokédex. And as you can see, when we look at her stats, her XP is glitched with that little text box next to it. So now we just get into a random encounter, We swap her out with Pikachu in battle, split the XP, and she should go straight to level 100. It's complicated, but if you can set it up, it's definitely worth doing. And there we have it, the Queen of Viridian Forest, Nidoqueen. So with that, we strut up to Brock and we slap him smugly with our level 100 Pokemon. So there is a limit or a cap to this glitch, and essentially that is every single trainer that walks up to you, once you've fought in all of them, you can no longer use it. So you want to be really sparing with the trainers you end up fighting. Essentially, you want to leave as many behind as possible that walk up to you via encounter. And it's going to take a lot of patience, because every single time you activate this glitch, you have to battle. And if you end up seeing something you don't want or don't need, you have to do it over. Now, I did this on red version, and essentially, I got pretty close, but like a dumbass, eventually I fought all of the long-distance trainers, and I capped out at like 2 away. Another way you can look at it is like this. So you're giving yourself a unique experience in Gen 1, because I don't know about you, but every single time I play a game, I don't enjoy that everything's always in the same spot. So we thrash Brock this time, he's wearing a shirt, and then we head up here to the next area, and we fight as little amount of trainers as possible. Sometime later, we make it to Mount Moon. This Team Rocket asshole, ignore the Zubat, standing in this room is our next glitch trainer we're going to use all the escape rope on. And depending on what you end up seeing in here, essentially remember, the trigger to the Pokemon we encounter is the last Pokemon's attack value. The attack value is then translated into the dex number of the Pokemon, and that is kind of how we get the glitch to activate. So after many embarrassing tries I'm not going to show in here, we got him with the escape rope technique. We fought her because she walked up to us, and just like that, this Geodude ruined whatever we were going to see from her Pokemon. I didn't record it, but her last Pokemon was a Caflurry. Oh, can I get a McFlurry? Sorry, fam. Ice cream machine's broken. So I took my sweet time walking back after that Geodude got us, and guess what? It was a fucking Execute. So we're going to try again. We're going to try to see something different. Hopefully that's not an Execute, because, yeah, cool, early game, fun against Misty, sure. They're not uncatchable. We're looking for the hardest of the hard right now, as we are attempting the Living Dex challenge using only 1 game. And you're probably wondering at some point, when I had mentioned earlier we're avoiding trainer battles, well, how are we going to get money for Pokeballs, and how are we going to complete the Dex without Pokeballs? And the answer to that, my dear viewer, is I'm saving it for the next episode. I will show you how to get all the money you need and not have to worry about battling anybody. So I had fought another Zubat earlier. I was hoping maybe the results would be different, but it's another fucking Execute. Let's try it again. Patience, see? I told you, patience is the key. So part of me is dying internally because I really wanted to keep this next encounter because I love this Pokemon. I think Gyarados is so freaking cool. But I can easily obtain one, and there's no reason to catch one now, even though a level 2 Gyarados is quite funny. And because we're avoiding battles and I can't buy Pokeballs, I'm not catching one of everything right now. I'll come back for what I need. And a lower level Geodude gave us a Tentacool. Would be really neat to have right now, but I don't need it. Maybe when I do a run for red or blue, I'll use the glitch to make a cool team. But oh look, another Execute! As DJ Khaled had said, another one. I actually mistakenly forgot to record this next part of the encounter. But now we see where Super Nerd got us grounded. I really did stop and contemplate for a while if I could catch this thing. I said no, we can find some of our islands, let's try again. Alright, I feel it in my bones this time. We're gonna get something we need. We teleport out, we drop at the Poké Center before Mount Moon, we walk our happy ass in. Once again, we decide to let this chick fight us. We decide we're not letting her put Peaches to sleep, but we don't want to take the risk for Sing, so we switch right into Nidoqueen and just end her.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
I should have growled her, because I guarantee when I find next, I'm gonna wish was level 1, but it's whatever, it's my own fault. Just gotta get to the ladder, and it's gone. 1 Zubat. Two Zubats. Fuck. Wouldn't you know it? The one time I don't use the growl technique, this thing turns out to be a Pokemon that I can get to level 100. Also, I forgot, like, one of the most jank things about Gen 1. You can miss with the Pokeball. Gotcha! Another unattainable. And here you'll notice I can walk in front of him, and he won't come after me anymore because his encounter's done. But we can still fight him by walking up and pressing A. Might as well beat his ass down and take his money since he's no longer used to us. Moving on, we encounter our first wild Clefairy in the game. These can be annoying, so I figured I might as well grab one since it appeared. Speaking of glitches, you'll notice that we're able to click on both the fossils here. We choose the Helix fossil in honor of Mudry Bread. Take a look at this glitch. He's claiming his fossil, and now he wants to fight us. But fuck him, we're gonna skip over him and go straight to the Jesse and James fight, because that seems more interesting. You'll also notice in the right top corner I've got a pokedex number. I've decided to keep count because, you know, we're trying to complete the dex. I should have done it last video, but it's a decision I made editing this one, so from now on, anytime we catch something or evolve something, we'll change the numbers so it keeps an accurate count of what our Pokédex is at. As always, nobody's a threat as long as we have the Nidoqueen, because level 100 is pretty much going to dominate anything that comes in our path. Fun side note, I learned after already starting this challenge that Yellow does not have every single Pokemon in it. Apparently there's only one Pikachu, so getting Raichu is going to be a bitch. So after arriving in Cerulean City, our rival Brando wants to tussle. Unfortunately for him, even if he could take down our Gengar, our Nidoqueen would decimate him. I hope you sucked up all the glory you could from that first one you got against me, because you're never going to get another one now, motherfucker. And it's been a while since I've played Pokemon Yellow, but I don't remember Gary's team being so weird. Who cares? So we tanked the first half of his team, and then he sends out his Rattata. I'm gonna murder you in cold blood. He's gonna have to bury your pathetic ass in the Pokemon Dairy, you useless piece of shit. Damn. Gengar, you got ominous. I mean, it's totally not me who is saying those terrible things. Well, if it isn't my stolen Eevee. I'm gonna beat you harder than these people click the subscribe button, because that's what they should totally do right now. Fight-wise, you'll notice this asshole Eevee decided to sand attack me like 70 fucking times. I was going to struggle it to death, but then I said, nah, fuck it, and I used Nidoqueen to finish the job. I don't always like relying on Nidoqueen to finish the job, but you know what? Fuck it. Desperate times call for desperate measures. So at this point I rampaged through Nugget Bridge and cleared it, and I'm going to sell the nuggets so I can stock up on Pokeballs. And we're going to need a shit ton, considering in Gen 1 you can miss the Pokemon when you throw it. And a few potions too, just because I know we're going to need them while training. So from here we spontaneously pop back to where we need to be to start the glitch, and I fuck it up. So while I steady my hands, I decide to talk to this guy, because he's like, I suck at raising Pokemon. Take my Charmander. There's only one in the game technically, so yeah, fuck it. It's like considered legendary. I'll take it. So with that, our Pokedex climbs to a whopping 6. So we head towards Bill's house, we slap the shit out of some trainers, and Charmander evolves. Now we're at a whopping 7. Bill tells us he's secretly a furry and wants us to do the thing. So we agree to do the thing. After doing the thing, he was so overjoyed when he exited his sex machine that he gave us a cruise line ticket. So not being one to look a gift ponytail in the mouth, we take the boat ticket and we say, Shanks? Oh yeah, progressing the story. Now Officer Jenny has got the fuck out of the way and we can go inside the dig guy's house. I've been robbed. Hey, suspicious looking burglar asshole. Let's battle. Now that I put some thought into it, I think I'm just gonna keep Charmeleon on the team until he hits Charizard, and then I'm gonna PC him. Charmander's like the most pick starter, so I just feel like it's a wasted slot for a unique run. I'm definitely keeping Nidoqueen because she is the muscle of the entire team. I guess Pikachu because it follows us, and you know, only I can fucking roll it Raichu anyway. And definitely Gengar. So I can leave Cerulean even though I haven't beat Misty. Here's my badges just to prove it. Look at that sprite though. 10 out of 10 would definitely do. So now we have access down below Cerulean to the grass patches where Abra can be located. And we finally found one. Too bad Abra's teleport away the moment you throw a Pokeball at them. Look at that sly bastard. Arms behind his head, chilling, not giving a fuck. Be a shame if I cut that chill timeout and imprisoned you for like 1,000 years in a ball. Or not. Well, on to the next one. You know what they say, second time's the charm. Fuck. Okay, 6 times the fuck! 9 attempts later. And still no Abra. You don't have enough badges to train me. 10 fucking Abras later, I catch it. I look forward to when I can replace you with a fly slave so I never have to deal with your dumbass again. So now we head up past Nugget Bridge to the place where the guy sees you from the farthest distance. Make sure you save before you try this or you'll fuck it up like I did right here. Alright, let's try that again. And indeed, we were successful. We got the start menu up before he could see us, and we're out of there. For a split second, I pressed my select and start button to show you that they are locked out right now, and the only way to unlock them is to get into a trainer battle, so let's do that now. Now that I think about it, I don't think I fought any hikers in Mount Moon, so this is my first hiker of the game. We pulled some switch training with Abra because we know he's useless, only knowing teleport. And it looks like his Geodude will determine the next Pokemon we see thanks to this glitch. On the bright side, now that we've captured Abra, we're able to set this glitch up as many times as we want. Like I said last video though, I really do recommend finding the least amount of trainers as possible as you will need them to unlock this glitch every time you go into it. Anyway, back to the fight. We growled the shit out of Geodude using Peaches, and now we're hoping to get our next spawn to be level 1 so we can exploit the level 100 glitch. We make short work of the Geodude using Gengar because I can't even explain how broken Ghost Pokemon are in Gen 1. We defeated the hiker. What a surprise! So now we're able to spawn a Pokemon in once we walk past this grass, and here we go. Fuck! Of course it's a Nidoqueen. Well, I told you in the first video you're gonna need patience because this is gonna happen more often than not. I'm already starting to regret this challenge. So we're still on the quest for a level 100 Pokemon, so we're gonna growl the crap out of this Oddish using Peaches, as Oddish slowly but surely sucks the life out of us. Peaches faints, but he gets off the needed amount of growls so we can see a level 1 Pokemon in this next encounter. Holy shit, it's a Pinsir, and it's level 1. Yeah. So Pinsir is available in Yellow. You can catch it in the Safari Zone. And for those of you who have played through Red, Yellow, and Blue, know the pains of the Safari Zone. For those of you who haven't, you get rocks and bait, and you can either throw a rock to make a Pokemon angry, or you can throw bait to distract the Pokemon so they can eat. But you can't wound them. It's a really weird concept. It's neat, but it's a pain in the ass, and it's all luck-based. Alright, Caught that bastard. And because I'm doing a massive challenge where I plan to catch the whole Dax, because I plan to catch everything in the game possible, I'm not nicknaming them just because I have a feeling sorting boxes would be a pain in the ass when I want to use something. So take a look at this bullshit. We go to look at Pincer's stats, and he has no negative XP. He only needs 9 points to level up, meaning he is one of the Pokemon who cannot hit the level 100 glitch. I just wasted all that goddamn time for nothing! It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's fine. It's totally fine. So mourning the hour and a half I lost in real life, we decide to fight this junior trainer inside Misty's gym, because if I remember correctly, defeating her last Pokemon will set up the glitch to show us Mew. The worst part about this is I was so confident that was Mew, that I have to go all the way back and reset up the glitch, but this guy, I double-checked it, this guy, once you beat his shelter, you will find a Mew. And the setup of Misty's gym is weird. Could you imagine just walking into a place that has like a platform across the pool and the guy's like, "Hey!" Swims up to you, "I want to battle!" And you're like, no, and you just go around him. Like, realistically, what's stopping me from just, like, turning around and going the long way and avoiding this guy, because it's not like he's going to swim underneath the platform. Anyway, we're going to set up the growl technique on Shelter here, because we're hoping to take the Mew from level 1 to level 100. So once we set up the growl technique, we easily mollywop the Shelter because we're electric type, and, you know, type advantage. I can't imagine as a kid being clever enough to figure all this out, like, without someone guiding me. And being like, wow, so that's how you find me. You just gotta, you know, break the game a bit. Enjoy this straight 2-minute footage of me just chucking Pokeballs at a level 1 Mew. Now, because it's so low leveled, I'm scared to hit it, because I don't want to kill it. So eventually I decide that just chucking Pokeballs isn't gonna do it. And hey, while I'm wasting my time, you should do something valuable with your time. Like head on over to our Facebook page, The Horror Burrito. Why don't you toss us a like? We post scary content daily. We also post updates to what we're covering next on the podcast and when the next episode will be available. So ignoring my other work that you care nothing about, because let's face it, the only reason you're watching this is because you're into Pokemon, Mew kills Peaches, and I decide to send out our spooky boy Gengar. Mew can't hurt Gengar because he's a ghost type, and we can try to confuse it and get it to hurt itself as we chuck balls with no avail. Finally, it hurt itself in confusion! So far I've learned as long as it has green health, the ball's not even touching it. But once we get it down to yellow, I finally get it to go inside the ball. Glad I sold that nugget and bought all those Pokeballs, or I'd be shit out of luck by now. 17 Pokeballs later, we capture Mew. Okay, I can die happy now. 8-year-old inner me has achieved his life goal. And just like Pinsir, Mew is not eligible for the level 100 glitch, so that's kind of disappointing. But, you know, we got Mew, so we can check that off the unattainables list. Setting up the glitch again, we run into an Executor, and then a Lapras. I decided to skip over those first two because they're attainable in game. I'm pretty sure Lickitung is also in the Safari Zone, and the Safari Zone can be such a pain in the ass, like I said earlier in the video, so I'm going for the Lickitung over the other two. And he was a pushover. I might consider putting him on the team just because normal type are kind of weird in Gen 1. Next we find a Nidoran and we skip right over that. Holy shit, it's a Scyther! That is not available in yellow version, so you are definitely coming with me, Chief. Scythers are quick, so we paralyze it, then we hit it with Thundershock. Luckily we bring it down to the red, so it was an easy catch. And that's another unattainable. So we're dicking around and we figured it's time to fight Misty and see what her Starmie is going to give us. See, I was hoping to find a Missing No by now, because essentially, when you run into Missing No, the 7th item inside your bag gets duplicated. And the 7th item in our bag is a rare candy, which can be sold for a high price so we can buy the items we need like Pokeballs and level up stuff to complete the dex. It wasn't supposed to be like this. There goes our infinite rare candy and infinite money glitch. We find Officer Jenny offering a Squirtle, but we're not a good enough trainer to raise it, which means we have to get the 3rd badge. We picked up where we left off using the Aber glitch. Essentially, I don't show it, but every time we catch a new Pokemon, I go back up to the guy sitting in the grass, I use the Aber teleport glitch, I run all the way down to Vermilion City, I go on the SS Anne, I battle somebody, and then I go and start the process over of hunting for a Pokemon to give us a new Pokemon to find. And you'll notice in this episode, I'm a little less picky with what I catch. And the reason for that is, essentially, the SS Anne leaves once we get cut. So, for every trainer on the SS Anne needs to be a catch, because once it's gone, and there's no getting them back. So, that's like 10, 12-ish battles I can't just let go to waste. So lucky me, I get to spend more time than I'd like to playing trial and error, finding Pokemon that are either unattainable or hard to find in general. So I'm curious, what do you think the perfect team is? My Horror Burrito crew and I have been talking about it, and there are a lot of different opinions. So, if you think you got the perfect team for this run, why don't you comment it down below and I'll consider using them. And to recap, you cannot encounter a wild Executor or Gyarados in yellow, but you can capture their predecessors and evolve them. And since we're shit out of luck on the rare candy glitch, we might as well save ourselves some time of switch training a Magikarp by just catching a Gyarados now, since we have to use the 12 encounters from the SS Anne anyway. This Magmar was found after running into a Dugtrio in Diglett Cave. And Dugtrios appear a lot less than Diglett, so this one took a while to summon. Magmars do not appear in Pokemon Yellow, so this is another unattainable I had to find. as Magmar was only available in Pokemon Blue version. Well, 14 down, only 137 more to go, so onward we trek. Holy shit, it's Chansey! Now, Chansey are available in Pokemon Yellow, but they're in the Safari Zone, and as we mentioned earlier in the Safari Zone, it's all a game of luck. And hence their name, Chansey, it really is up to chance. They have a really low catch rate, and they flee constantly. So why am I going to waste my time chasing one when I've got one right here that can't run from me? Now, Chansey is a weird choice for a team because they have terrible attack stats, but their HP is through the roof. Well, I reckon that saved us probably, I don't know, an hour and a half to 2 hours maybe? At this rate, the only thing we're going to do in the Safari Zone is fish for a Dratini, pick up Surf, and grab the Golden Teeth for the Strength HM. Like I said, I got to use up all those trainer battles on the SSN, or else I'm just wasting the glitch. So, we're going to take the Rhyhorn, even though they're not hard to find in the future. Now, this is an interesting encounter, because you can only get Mr. Mime through trade, and its name is always Marcel, in red, yellow, and blue. So the fact that we can catch one without a shitty nickname... Although I'll give it to this fucking clown, he ain't going down without a fight. But, we are here to catch them all, so he has no fucking choice. Killer clowns from outer space looking ass alien. Great, we finally find a Needle King, and I didn't set up the Growl glitch to get it down to level 1, so much for our secondary level 100 Pokemon, because he's one of the few Pokemon that can actually access the level 100 glitch. We catch him on the first ball, so that's pretty cute. So these aren't impossible to get, but like I said, I gotta use up those trainers, and I spent a lot of time. This was the first unique time I had seen this. I said, fuck it, let's grab it. Would have been nice if it was a Machamp though, but I guess, beggars can't be choosers. At this point, you're probably tired of just seeing the encounter, so I figured I'd run through the entire process just once. And before anyone bitches about me changing the speed, you can change the speed on Pokemon Stadium, even though this is an emulation I'm running. So, technically, it's legal, even though these glitches aren't. So after watching the He-Walk video for the 900th time while making these, we learned how to walk down to Vermilion City just like Furt would, and a Jigglypuff stops us. But ain't nobody got time for that, so we run away from it and keep moving. If you so foolishly choose to attempt to run like I'm doing here, just remember to keep track of your boxes. They can only hold 20 Pokemon. And it would suck a lot of Mewtwo schlong if you finally run into a glitch Pokemon you need and you can't catch it because, well, your box is full. We defeat this sailor, freeing up our start menu, and we decide to go train in Diglett Cave, and the Dugtrio decides to attack us. But hey, even though I realized I'm wasting my time making these because an entire number of, 4 people watch them, let's get back to the run. I'm not crying, you're crying. After wiping away some tears, we capture Dugtrio, and spawning off that Dugtrio is an Electabuzz, which is fucking rad, because guess what? Electabuzz isn't in Pokemon Yellow. Go figure, it's a yellow Pokemon. What the fuck do I know, though? Come to think of it, the Weedle evolutionary line and Raichu aren't in Yellow either, so, kinda excluding the yellow Pokemon from Yellow version. Through some Switch training, we evolve Abra into Kadabra. And off that Diglett we just slapped down rises a level 7 Blastoids. He looks a lot fucking cooler here than he did in Red and Blue. Fun, lame, nerdy Pokemon fact that no one cares about. Squirtle was Gary's original starter, so... Please don't leave. Moving on to the field right next to Diglett Cave, we defeat a Drowsy and come across an Arcanine. I didn't record it, but you would be surprised at how many times I come across Mew because of the way the Pokemon stats are. Mythical Pokemon, huh? I think you mean uncommon. We capture Fired Clifford and... It's my favorite fighting type. My inner bro dude's just going Yas, bro. Loki might just say, fuck the poll, this is going on my team, I don't care what anybody says. This is part of my permanent team. Later on. It's so surreal being able to catch all these Pokemon in Kanto who are one-of-a-kind exclusives. And if you stop and think, Kanto really did have a lot of that. Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, Farfetch'd, Jinx, let's see, Mr. Mime, Lapras. Makes you wonder, were they originally from Kanto? Both Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan evolved from Tyrogue, which is originally found in Johto, so I guess they're not originally from Kanto if you really think about it. But that's just another theory. A Pokemon theory! Tangela are catchable, but, gotta use those slots, so might as well. Oh look, trash from the anime. Oh, I found this sickly Bulbasaur. Someone needs to take care of it. Will you take it? I really want to take a Pokemon that is uncatchable in this game. Yeah, duh. Oh, it's Magneton, and he's not Steel-typed. On the real though, his stats are probably ass tons better than Peach's. But even so, I've never ran an Electabuzz in a Kanto run, so as cool as it would be, I'm gonna have to pass on Magneton for the team this time around. I know I shouldn't waste my time catching this Hitmonchan because, I get a free one after I defeat the fighting gym in Saffron City, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I gotta use up those trainer slots on the SSN. If only I had a way to glitch a Pokemon with Cut, so I didn't have to get rid of the SSN, I could have used those slots later on. We capture another one-off Pokemon in the game, and we keep trucking along. Listen, I hear you typing in the comments right now. Just stop. I know. I ran away from a shelter earlier. I know they're not rare. I know they're super common. I do have to catch everything at some point, so, you know. And Shelter does evolve with a water stone, so I might as well catch it so I can evolve it in a few cities. Plus, let me repeat myself for the 19th time, gotta use the trainer slots on the boat. I've also decided anything that's kind of low level right now, I can just come back later, take the victory road, train up in 1 or 2 battles, so that's why I'm not going catch-a-thon and everything around me. Although I did catch that one lonely Pidgey and then released it at the very start, I didn't show it on video. So we are getting low on SS and trainers, so this catch-a-thon will be coming to an end very soon. And once we fight all the trainers on the SS and, we get to fight our old friend Rando Brando, and we're going to put a whooping on him. Now I know what you're thinking. Brando, that's such a random name. But it's actually in reference to a good friend of mine by the name of Brandon Syme. He makes a lot of Goosebumps, Monster Truck, Smash Bros. YouTube stuff. So if you like the occasional shitpost and a look into, 90s culture, why don't you check out Brandon Syme's YouTube?
Why did you catch a Lapras when you can get one at Silphco? I'm gonna unsubscribe.
Wow, that's a pretty lame opinion. About as lame as me not recording that whole encounter with the Drowsy I just captured. So we're at the end. This is literally the last Pokemon encounter from the SS and. So as you can see, this and the Lapras, I had to use them up on something, so I just said, why not? And I caught them. You know, again, we're moving forward with the dex. We've put quite a bit of work this episode into the pokedex. Next up will be an encounter with our rival Brando. Comment below and let me know if you think I can win the battle. What I can tell you is I'm quite excited to finally leave Cerulean City. I constantly go there to trip this glitch, and honestly, I'm tired of blue. So with every possible trainer fought on the boat, and every glitch possibly exploited from the boat, we're going to make one quick run through the boat just to make sure we didn't miss anything, and then it's off to the rival battle. Have you ever heard the rumor about how Mew was trapped underneath a truck? You know, the truck that's like to the right of the SS and the only way to access it is to not have the boat leave, so you have to have someone trade you a Pokemon that knows Cut, so you can come back later when you have Surf, and then use Strength to move the truck and Mew would appear. I know you're going to be like, oh my god, you left those items behind, but you know what? I grabbed them on the way out. I didn't want to take them until I had made sure I cleared the boat and beat the rival. This is it. Make your final guesses in the comments below if you think we can take the rival. We one-shot as Sparrow. We one-shot as Rattata with a critical hit. Answer hangs on with an eighth of its health but suffers a burn. And there it is, our stolen Eevee. His team didn't stand a chance against Charmeleon. Tune in next episode where I HM1 a bitch. So at the end of last episode, we stomped our rival Brando into the ground with our Charmeleon alone. We entered the captain's headquarters and gave him a back rub so we could obtain HM1, Cut. And we abused the Aber glitch, or the max distance trainer glitch, and used every single trainer on the SS and to obtain a Pokemon, dumping our Pokedex at the 35. The last trainer on the boat gifted us a Slowpoke once we started the random encounter. Aqua Pigs aren't impossible to find in this game, but I already have Slowbro, so if I catch this completes the evolutionary line in the Pokedex. So after a little week and a half of my life of going back and forth from Cerulean to Vermilion, it's time to take on the gym. Huh, well, would you look at the time. Sounds like it's time for a shameless plug to my Instagram, so give me a follow at Goosebumps_Dan for video updates and other cool pictures of shiny Pokemon and Pokemon Go. And now I'd like to complain for just a second. Here's my issue. Why is it Lieutenant Surge only has a Raichu in yellow version? I mean, I know they're trying to stay true to the anime, but as a gym leader, you'd think he'd have something more. This is not my first gym battle. Now we have the Thunder Badge and we can use Fly, so Kadabra's days are limited. We revisit Officer Jenny and get a Squirtle from her. We then make our way through Diglett Tunnel so we can pick up HM5, Flash, from the aide that is working with Professor Oak. And since we're so close to the first town, I said let's just go pick up the Dream Eater TM, since somebody knows Hypnosis now. We also picked up the bicycle voucher from the Pokemon Fan Club president, so let's trade that in and get the bike. So we obtain a bike worth $1 million, and what's the first thing we do with it? We put it in the PC. Talk about the ultimate flex. Ha! It's a slippery snake! Arbok and Ekans are not available in Pokemon Yellow, so we have found ourselves another unattainable. Fun fact, Arbok is just Cobra spelled backwards. I found a patch of grass up by the rock tunnel where there's Magnemite, and they have the craziest spawns. Look, it's a Golem! And I thought Golem were only attainable after you traded a Graveler, and then it evolved. So we sent Electabuzz out to deal with him, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, as much as I want to use Electabuzz, I looked at his moveset. He doesn't get any good electric moves till level 30. I'll leave him on the team for now, but I'm getting to the point where I'm considering trading him in for Magneton. Because if all I can do is Flash, Leer, and then Quick Attack, it's going to be a really long, dragged-out battle, even with Speed Up. And I am starting to believe that we can actually complete this challenge 100%. This Golem was tough and put up quite a fight, but it wasn't anything we couldn't handle. We head back to the Magnemite field near the power plant, and we decide to catch a Magnemite to complete the Magnemite evolutionary line. And inside this field, there's a lot of early game Pokemon that are at that right level where they're about to evolve, so we start picking them up because it's easy to train them one level. Besides, without the aid of Missing No, we can't glitch rare candies, so we kinda have to do things by the books. Charmeleon evolves into a Charizard and we put it in the PC. And now it's time to take that Squirtle Officer Jenny gave us and level it up into a Wartortle since we already caught Blastoids. So here's something you don't believe. This video is way ahead of schedule. I actually only limit myself to playing Pokemon for about a couple hours a week so I can get the footage I need to make a video once a week. But I kinda got sucked into it. Not addicted per se, but I just couldn't put it down because things had gotten so interesting once we clear Rock Tunnel here. And to top it off, we didn't record one. No, we recorded 2 podcasts this weekend for both the Horror Burrito and that one Goosebumps podcast. And as I'm editing this, I've already finished the Horror Burrito, which I've done in record time. So, we evolved Squirtle into Wartortle and we put him back in the PC. I should have named him Oogway. But no, when we're doing runs like this where we do full decks, no nicknames unless it's the starter, because it just makes it difficult to keep track of things. Maybe in a Gen 3 onward, when the box system is actually manageable, we capture a male Nidoran while proceeding to train our female Nidoran. I figured I might as well knock these out now. They're so close, and I've already got Nidoking and Nidoqueen. Off screen, we do the swap and we put the male Nidoran in the party. Due to his superior moveset, leveling him up was a lot easier. So we get a quick Evo off of him and we dump him in the box. Rattata evolves into Eradicate at level 20, so I figured we could pick one up at this level and train it. We're only a few levels away. See, 5 minutes later and we got Eradicate, which we're dumping in the PC. Now, Rock Tunnel could have been hard, pun intended, but we have Flash, so we decided just to work our way through because I'm not one for wandering around in the dark. As a kid, that used to fuck me up. No, seriously, story time here. As a kid playing through these, I refused to teach my Pokemon Flash because I didn't realize Flash lowered accuracy. I thought it just didn't do anything. So I would spend probably close to a week wandering through Rock Tunnel trying to get out, only to be ready to cry when I get to the other side and I'm back at the entrance of Rock Tunnel. As a kid in Gen 1, clearing Rock Tunnel without Flash was the equivalent of NASA landing on the moon for you. We pick up an Onix because he doesn't evolve in this game, and we pick up a Geodude because we needed that to complete the evolutionary line. Zubat evolves into Golbat at level 22, so we pick up this one knowing we only have to train at one level when we get some time. Fun fact, did you know at one point Zubat had a baby form that got scrapped in the original Gold and Silver version? This was found out when someone came into possession of a gold demo from Space World 2000 that ended up getting data mined. So this fisherman I'm standing in front of will be our next max distant trainer glitch. You can walk down to the dock, and by the time you hit the second panel where the dock looks different, you have to hit start, and you can use fly or teleport, and it'll trick the same thing every time. So now we're back in business with the Abba glitch, and every time we go to leave town, we're going to see a random Pokemon. Psyducks aren't rare, so we're going to head up this patch of grass here and just walk around until we find something interesting. This patch of grass here was the exact reason I got sucked into playing for so long and actually ended up making this video. Because in this grass, there's a 1% spawn rate for a level 27 Kadabra. Not the Tangela, but this is what we found when we saw the Kadabra. A goddamn Articuno. I was not ready for a legendary battle this early, let me tell you. It was meant to be. Articuno's my favorite legendary bird, and it came to me early in game, with only 3 badges. Articuno's like, you don't have enough badges to train me. Bitch, that ain't gonna stop me from trying, though. I am so grateful I stocked up on a few Great Balls before I went to start the glitch. Articuno puts up a fight, and I'm talking like one hell of a fight here. I'm gonna try to nudge it into the red, hoping that maybe that'll be what I need. Although after this I learned that actually putting Pokemon in the red doesn't make a difference. The best way to catch them is in yellow health. Now that of course is a Gen 1 glitch, and that is fixed later on in different games. Come on you asshole bird, just get in the ball! You're asleep! You shouldn't have the will to fight back! Here's the part where I fuck up and try to nudge its health a little bit. No! Thank God we saved right before the encounter started, or that would have been really disheartening. Just want to test the waters here, see if it's got at least 32 HP, and it doesn't. So essentially we want to get Articuno down to the health it was last battle, and we want it to sleep. That's our best chance of catching it with a Great Ball. Okay, one more Vine Whip should do it, and of course we get a fucking crit! There goes our algorithm for catching this thing. Let's put it to sleep and just kind of work our way through it. So, ball after ball we throw and throw. To no avail. Pokeballs just aren't cutting it. I decided to try giving it a different status affliction since sleep's not working. I can't believe it starts out knowing Ice Beam, like one of the most powerful ice moves, like one of the only ice moves, but one of the most powerful ice moves in Gen 1, and it knows it right off the bat at level 7. And you know, I'm most likely putting this on my team. And before you say anything like, the Articuno's in the Seafoam Islands waiting for you. That he is. But to get to him, you have to do a strength puzzle where essentially you cut off a water current so you can surf to him. So why do that if I don't have to and save a bunch of time? Also, if you're keeping count, his health did change. This is my 4th attempt at catching this son of a bitch. Realistically, I don't know how much time I would need to waste on the Seafoam Islands puzzle. When it is time to fight Blaine, though, I'm flying to Pallet Town and surfing straight down to Cinnabar. We rinse and repeat their sleep and great ball, and we got it! Legendary bird Pokemon. We reset the glitch again. The next few results were quite unsatisfactory. I mean, we don't need a Pharaoh, we can evolve a Sparrow easily. Steel was a unique encounter, but not hard to find in the wild. Well, too bad I already have a Scyther. And then it's the uncommon Mew. After cycling through about every Pokemon in that patch of grass we were in earlier, I decided my best bet's to find another Kadabra. First, we're going to catch a Pidgeotto because in episode 1 I didn't show it. I caught a Pidgey and released it. I avoided it earlier, but I'm going to catch Jigglypuff because I need to evolve it into Wigglytuff, and I've got enough Moonstones now to go around. Nothing like a battle of Sing versus Hypnosis. Man, I haven't ran a Jigglypuff in my team since I replayed Gold version on the Virtual Consoles on a 3DS. Finally, another Kadabra spawn, but it's not level 27. But you know what, we'll take it. We'll see what it gives us. Oh, and Bulbasaur evolved from that battle. The Kadabra spawned a Coughing, which is unattainable in yellow, so yeah. See, it was like one crazy catch after another. It was hard to put the game down at this point. So after capturing that Jigglypuff, we decided to pull it out and use one of our 2 Moonstones on it. See, and I caught a Clefairy in episode 1 because I was thinking ahead. Kind of. We use our last Moonstone and evolve into Clefable, finishing the Moonstone line of evolutions in the game. Skip Parasect, because I'm pretty sure you can catch Parasect in the Safari Zone. And look, another Articuno! Yes, folks, I went through all that hell just to find another Articuno, but here it is, another level 27 Kadabra. It only took me like an hour to find. Or 3, it's not, there's a little clock in the left-hand corner that tells you what time it is while I'm playing it. Oh my god, it's a Zapdos! 2 legendary birds, 3 badges, let's fucking go! Craziest part about this entire encounter, I'm not bullshitting you, like the craziest part was I got this on my first try. And I was really more so just testing the waters. I wanted to see what I could get if I paralyzed it, put some damage into it, just started chucking balls. So while I'm killing time here, why don't you subscribe to the channel? I plan to do a lot more Pokemon videos. I've got some more Z-Box builds coming up. Of course, there's a new episode of the Fort Burrito coming this week. We capture Zapdos, putting the Pokedex at 59, and I call it a night. So we glitched a Zapdos off of a level 27 Kadabra in that field right outside of Lavender Town. After encountering another level 27 Kadabra, this was what spawned. And on my first attempt I killed it, but the second attempt I caught it. This was really great because Meowth unattainable in yellow. We made our way through the underground path and then we entered Celadon City. We enter the back of this building and head upstairs for the Eevee that's on the table here. We have the option to evolve it, but we are going to wait. This Eevee will be one of the last Pokemon that we end up evolving. Next, we use Cut to go and obtain Fly, which you know what that means, Kadabra is now on the benches and in the PC. Zapdos has taken his, and not only that, but Electabuzz and Pikachu's place. We evolve the Sparrow, and then our Zubat. Then we purchase one of many evolution stones we'll need later on from the Celadon Mart. We were a bit low on cash, so we could only afford one at a time. We also bought a Drinkware at the department store and we give it to the guards, so now we can enter Saffron City. We make quick use of that water stone though when we take the Starry we caught off the SS Sand Trainer glitch and we evolve it. Sorry if I sound really melatonin, guys. I've been working a lot of overtime and I am just exhausted. We spawn a Psyduck, and even though they're not rare, we decide to catch it. We also start using Meowth in hopes that we can spam Payday to pick up some extra cash. And finally, after hours, and maybe even days of searching, we find another level 27 Kadabra. But, of course, fate would have another plan for us once we find it. We're still getting acclimated to using Fly over Teleport, but eventually we figure it out. We decide to heal up before we start our glitch in hopes that we're going to be fighting a legend. All that work for a freaking Poliwag. And Drowsy evolved into Hypno, so we put him in the PC. And now we're going to take on Erica. Even though Zapdos is like 8 levels underneath her team, it still wipes the floor with them. Because, you know, I guess it's a legendary and all that. It's actually 11 levels underneath these two, but you know, gotta get technical. So now we're gonna go and we're gonna fly off and see what Erica's final Pokemon spawns for us in the Lavender Town glitch. Holy shit, it's a Farfetch. Here's the problem, my big brain time didn't decide to Google this stuff before I played the game. I just kinda went into it blind, and from my best memory, Farfetch was something you could only trade for in like red and blue. I assume the same was for yellow. I'd be wrong. You can catch it in a patch of grass literally after you get the Pokefood. Now that we've made some money, we buy another Water Stone and decide to evolve that Shelter we had picked up during the SSN glitch. We find another Hitmonchan, but considering we ran into quite a couple, we don't really need that. We take on the Celadon Game Corner in hopes of getting the Silph Scope. We fight Jesse and James again. You know, it's kind of funny, we have 2 of their 3 Pokemon on our team right now we're trying to evolve. Now, besides money being tight, I could have bought a Pokédoll to surpass the Marowak Spirit in Lavender Tower. But I do need the money, so, you know, gotta do more battles, and I wanted to see what Giovanni's team would spawn from the glitch. We follow up the battle with Jesse and James by confronting Giovanni. We defeat Giovanni, but because he's using anime Pokemon like the Persian, essentially his spawn was trash. And now it's time we go and fight our rival, Rando Brando. Now this character in the game, he's a total piece of shit. But the real Rando Brando, aka Brandon Syme, is an awesome guy you should definitely check out on YouTube. Why don't we help this boy hit 200 subscribers, because that's his dream. Now, I haven't watched the Pokemon anime in decades, but can anybody tell me if Gary's team here is actually accurate to his anime team? If so, comment below. As much training as we've been doing trying to fill the pokedex, Brando really didn't stand a chance in this fight. Well, look, it's our stolen Eevee. Don't even care about you anymore. Got an Eevee in the PC waiting to catch a stone, bruh. We easily topple Brando and start to climb the Pokemon Tower. We confront Ghastly with a Gengar because it's funny and ironic. We catch a Ghastly and decide we'll evolve into a Haunter later. We exploit the glitch and we see a Hitmonlee, which is great. I love Hitmonlee, but I don't need it. We stumble across a wild Cubone. See, I told you we could find one later on. We catch him on our first ball because, you know, his mom's dead and R.I.P. Marowak. Cubone's special attack spawned us a Tauros, and even though Tauros are available in the Safari Zone, I don't see the point of risking not catching one because, you know, bait rock, when I can forcibly take it here. I know I've said it before, especially like in Pokemon Bronze, but I swear one of these runs I'm gonna put a Tauros on my team. I really am. I've always wanted to, I just never do. Marowak is ground type and stood no chance against Razor Leaf, and it spawns a Pidgey. Oh, the irony. We make it to the top of Pokemon Tower, only to be confronted by Jesse and James again. They're all that's standing between me and the Pokeflute, which means they're all that's standing between me and Snorlax, which means they're all that's standing between me and Fuchsia City, which means they're standing between me and the goddamn Safari Zone. I didn't intend it, but that almost felt like one of those Old Spice commercials where he's like, look at me, now look at him, now back at me, now back to him, now back to me. Cheap lulz for the win. Also, I call bullshit. Weezing doesn't evolve till level 31. We rescue Mr. Fuji, who is mourning the loss of Cubone's mother, and we get the Pokeflute. Now it's finally time to wake up that fat, sleepy bastard Snorlax. So knowing what we know now, would you say that Snorlax was originally a Kanto Pokemon? Or the fact that it has a pre-evolution as Munchlax, which is from the Sinnoh region, would make it a foreign Pokemon? There's a large handful of Pokemon in Kanto that you just actually can't find in the wild. Although that was retcon when we got Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. We catch Snorlax and we go to set up his glitch. And oh my god, it's a Dragonite! Oh man, like I kinda really fucking want to put this on my team now. So I don't have to train up a shitty Dratini, and I don't have to train it to level 50, and I still have the power of a literal legendary Pokemon because it's a pseudo-legendary. Once we get past Snorlax on the bridge down to Fuchsia City, there's a patch of grass you just saw me in where I was able to catch a Oddish, I catch a Bellsprout. This is where the wild Farfetch can be found, and both the grass Pokemon I captured are ready to be evolved by 1 level, so that's always nice. We finally make it to the Safari Zone, and we're after the Surf HM, the Golden Teeth, we need an Execute, which this one runs away. We're chasing a Kangaskong as well as a Dratini for the dex. So we're about halfway through the dex, and hopefully if things go our way, we will be done with this series in the next 3 episodes, I'm hoping. It's not that I haven't enjoyed Pokemon Yellow, because, you know, it really was nostalgic to go back and play through in a different style. But there are so many ROM hacks to play. And this isn't even a ROM hack, this is me just recording my process on something I've wanted to do for a while that I tried, I don't know, 5 years ago that didn't really plan out in my favor. There's just a lot of other stuff I want to play and do. And speaking of like upcoming work and projects, I've kind of been messing around with it. I guess it's like a form of animation. It's where I draw stuff and kind of move the slides and talk. It's like a story time kind of deal. I've got a couple interesting stories I wanted to try animating, so when I feel like I've gotten something to the point that's solid and I'm proud of releasing it, I shall. Enough rambling, back to the game commentary. We picked up the Golden Teeth, we won the Surf HM, and we caught a Kangaskong. We tried fishing earlier, with no avail we could not pull a Dratini out of the lake. We stumble across our 3rd Execute, and as you can see, 3rd time's the charm as we catch it. We then go to the Game Warden's house, who's been dubbed the nickname Slowpoke. When we give him his teeth, he's going to give us the Strength HM, which we can use to push that rock inside his home and get a rare candy, but we'll do that later. Back to our main quest, Oak's Challenge. We weaken a Venonat and pick it up for the dex, and from that point we start training our Oddish and Bellsprout we picked up earlier on. Oddish evolved into Gloom after a single level, as did Bellsprout evolve into Weeping Bell after a single level. We then head to Celadon City and pick up some Leaf Stones. Using said Leaf Stones, we evolve Weeping Bell into Victory Bell, and Gloom into Vileplume. After going back to the Safari Zone, on our first try we fish up a Dratini, cause go figure, and we catch it on our first ball. Like, what are the odds? We go back to check the glitch and, oh no, it's our Lord and Savior, Lord Helix. Oh no guys, this is really bad. Like, he knows everything. He's like Santa Claus. Look at that beard. He knows we've been breaking the game, and he's here to stop us. I've only got one choice. Praise Helix. Forgive me, Padre, for I have sinned. Just gonna throw it out there, the biggest letdown of this entire event is I picked the Helix fossil inside Mount Moon. Well, hindsight's 2020, so let's go kick Koga's ass and make ourselves feel better. Okay, but why are your Venonats so high level? Like, evolve them to Venomoth. They evolve at level 30-something. Something I've never understood in games. So why does a gym leader use 2 of the same Pokemon? Now granted, this is Gen 1, there's only 151, which means there are limited poison type, but still, why are you using duplicate Pokemon? I mean, the closest you'll ever get to seeing me using duplicate Pokemon is I'll use a Gyarados almost every chance I get, but that's just because, like, he's one of my top 5 in Kanto. If you're paying close attention to this fight, you'll notice I was dumb and clicked Horn Drill again instead of using an attack I know would kill. I like how we're gifted Toxic as a team even though he only used the attack Psychic on me. We go back and check the glitch, and what do you know, a Flareon. 1, take that Rando Brando, you thieving little pokey shit. I didn't need the Eevee you stole. I got a Flareon. And I still have my Eevee, which is in the PC, and I might not even have to evolve it if I can find a Flareon and Jolteon. Capturing Flareon put our Pokedex at 86, so now we're going to start fishing, because we haven't really used the rods in this game. There are a lot of different water Pokemon in Kanto. I could probably do just like a water team only challenge, that might be neat. If I did that though, it would have to be on like Fire Red or Leaf Green, that way I could pick the female sprite and call myself Misty. If you guys want to see a run like that, comment below. Now I am going to go on record here and say I could evolve that Horsey I caught earlier, but why not just catch the Seadra? It's already low enough, and it's just one less Pokemon I have to train, since, you know, I don't have unlimited rare candies to run. Now, yes, you'll notice we are at the docks fishing, but right below me is where I would set up the fly glitch, so I figured I might as well get some fishing done before we do the fly glitch, and, you know. So we catch a Goldeen, we set up the fly glitch, we head over to Viridian City. Oh, I just can't enunciate today. It's probably because I drank a Dr. Pepper. We're heading up to the lake before you enter the Indigo Plateau, because you can fish up Poliwag here. To the right of this lake, you'll notice this is the only place we ever took an L, and we did that shit on purpose. So from here on out, we're pretty much going to be fishing down by Fuchsia City, where the shoreline would take you towards the Seafoam Islands. After some type advantage training, for some reason I was under the impression that Ivysaur would evolve into Venusaur at level 36, not 32, so I didn't catch his evolution, but he did evolve into Venusaur. Here's the stats. We took the Tentacool we had caught over to Rock Tunnel and evolved it there. And while we were fishing, we came across the Tentacruel, so we went and checked out its special, and this is what spawned off the glitch. Now, next episode, we have some crazy spawns coming in off these Tentacools. I decided I'd start this episode off by showing you how the glitch we're going to use actually works. We encounter a max distance trainer, we fly away, you could also teleport or escape rope, but flying is the easiest, and then you go and get into another battle. By doing that, you unlock your start menu, which was locked when you escaped the first battle. So once you unlock your start menu, that battle you first escaped becomes a random encounter, which is varying upon the number of special attack stat from the last Pokemon you viewed. And here you'll see we came across the Pikachu, which is only one in the game, so hello Raichu. And I'd be wrong. Catching the second Pikachu, it interacts as the first Pikachu did. See, its name isn't Peaches, it's the same level I caught it. I cannot evolve it. I just broke my neck to catch another Pikachu, which mind you is a legendary in this game, because there's only one of it technically, for it to not be able to evolve. Which means if we want to Raichu, we're going to have to encounter the correct special attack stat and spawn it that way. You know what they say, missing no taketh, missing no giveth. We continue training the Pokemon we capture to evolve them since we cannot get rare candies. After evolving Venonat into Venomoth, we take our Poliwag over to Diglett Tunnel and just grind since it's full ground type. We evolve into a Poliwhirl and head straight to Celadon for a Water Stone. So a couple episodes ago, we were in this patch of grass by Lavender Town, and we were looking for that level 27 Kadabra, because its special attack was hitting the sweet spot on mythical spawns. I mean, we got 2 legendary birds out of that. And right now, the new sweet spot seems to be at the Bank of the Shores by Fuchsia City. Every time we pull a level 30 Tentacruel, we find something crazy, like this Vulpix or this Raichu. Who needs a damn Thunderstone when I could just forcibly make one appear like an angry god? The only other real plus thing I'd say to this glitch is because all the Pokemon are level 7, most of them can be captured with a Great Ball, so that was easy. We trained up our Purple Fart Ghastly into a Haunter. We skipped taking the correct path to Cinnabar Island because you can just surf from Pallet Town, and there's a far less amount of trainers, and you don't gotta beat some goddamn dungeon from the Seafoam Islands. Holy shit, we did it, boys! We broke 100 on the Pokedex, 51 to go! And right after we broke 100, we ended up running into a Ditto, which is the useful sex slave / jizz stain of Pokemon. Now, I'm going to continue doing this challenge blindly, meaning I won't go on Bulbapedia or anything like that. But I know for a fact, since Ditto transforms into the last Pokemon it sees, you can essentially make it mirror the special stat you want to generate a Pokemon. So, I guess this challenge really is doable, but again, I'm going to attempt to do this before I have to abuse the Glitto Ditch. I will do it all the way up until we get to Mewtwo. So in short, once I capture Mewtwo, I don't have the rest of my life to continue playing this, and I've already sunk 80-something hours, and that's what was actually captured in-game recording. That's not counting all the times I had to reset. So, with that much of my life lost, I'll just be looking up what I need to on the internet, finding the special attack value I need, and then using a Ditto. God, I cannot say Ditto for shit. I want to say Glitto for some reason. I'll be using a Ditto to spawn in what I'm missing and finish the dex, and finally move on with my life. We finally evolve our tedious and pesky coughing into a wheezing. Well, good gosh golly, would you look at the time? It's time for a shameless Instagram plug. So why don't you head on over to Instagram and follow me at goosebumps_Dan, no caps. I post video updates to essentially almost everything that goes on my channel, as well as pictures of shiny Pokemon I capture in Pokemon Go. So if you're into that kind of stuff, definitely head over and keep up with my content. So we cleared Pokemon Mansion, now we're fighting Blaine. Yes, I did do the badges out of order. Like Gen 2, Gen 1, you were able to do that. Like almost all trainers in this game, as long as we have our Nidoqueen, nobody really is a challenge. And honestly, now that I think about it, this episode was a lot more like fighting than it was actually like Pokedexing. So I ended up heading to Seafoam Islands even though I said I didn't need to, just for Pokemon for the dex, because there's a lot of water Pokemon there. Staryu, Slowbro, Slowpoke, Seal, Dewgong, Krabby, Kingler, as well as Zubat and Golbat. And remember, the theme song is gotta catch them all, not gotta train them all. And let me tell you, I am goddamn tired of training Pokemon up to their Evo forms, so if I can catch an evolution in the wild, I'm gonna do it, because time is money. Or more so, I just have so many projects, I don't have all goddamn day to train Pokemon that I honestly don't care about and I'm not gonna use. So after training my team to the brink of death and getting tired of that shit brown exterior, I take my Krabby and start training it in the wild tall grass near Fuchsia City. What's nice about the Pokemon in Seafoam Islands is they're all near their evolutionary stage, so with one level we get them to evolve with ease. Krabby evolves into Kingler, we dump it in the PC, and we head back to the Seafoam Islands. We have ourselves a legendary encounter right here next. I went back to check the glitch, and what do you know? Moltres, the final bird. Fun fact, Moltres is Josh Reviews Incorporated's favorite legendary Pokemon. So why don't you head over to Josh Reviews Incorporated's YouTube page and show him some love. He usually reviews anime. Out of all the legendary birds, I want to say Moltres put up the hardest fight. Now, of course, it didn't help. I didn't really have anything that could combat it because everything would just one-shot it. So, I mean, there's that too. So I have this sad, painful realization here, probably by my next gym badge, that I've spent so much time training up the random mons I don't need. I have neglected that dream team I was going to build. But on the bright side, we finally caught that flaming bastard. We're pretty much out of things to tackle, so we had to Silphco and fight our old rival, Rando Brando. Or as the major PokeTubers claim it, Rival Fivel. So we slap Rando Brando's tits in the mud and go, oh, look, an Omnistar. Hi there, regret, party of one, please? Why didn't I take the damn Dome Fossil? I had to take the Helix. Praise fucking Helix. So yeah, like 100% hate my fucking life right now, because you know what? I like Kabuto better than Omnimite anyway. I'm gonna say it. Fuck it, yeah, I like Kabuto better. We evolve Goldeen and kick it off our team. It's time for our our secondary mandatory fight with Giovanni. And his team's better than it was before, but still no match. He sinks our Psyduck, but we bring it back with Pidgeotto. We slowly mill down his Persian with Pidgeotto. And then we break out Nidoqueen only because I want to evolve the Pidgeotto to get it off my team, since Zapdos is my flyer. We have a one-sided mirror match that ends sadly for him. Pidgeotto evolves into Pidgeot, so it's off the team, Giovanni vanishes, and we acquire a Master Ball from this pedophile. So I come across a Mankey, and I chuck a Pokeball for the lulz and catch him the first try, hence no video. I was trying to trigger another battle with our rival to spawn another glitch Pokemon, and I realized I don't have badge number 6 or 8. So I thrashed my way through Sabrina's gym for every single one of her Pokemon trainers to let me down with no good spawns. So Sabrina runs the entire Abra evolutionary line. Her final Pokemon is Alakazam. Beating Alakazam spawns a level 7 Abra. I switched it up and lost to Kadabra, it spawned a Slowbro. I can't lose to Abra because it only uses Flash. So, we defeat her, take the 6th badge, and then we head over to Viridian to fight Giovanni. Lo and behold, every single trainer in Giovanni's gym was a letdown too, so we move right on to the boss man himself. And like I said before 100 times later, doesn't matter what we use, at the end of the day Nidoqueen can mollywop them all. Now that I think about it, realistically, Gengar's like the only other Pokemon I've had with me pretty much this whole journey. So I guess my real team's Nidoqueen, Gengar, and Zapdos, realistically in the end. I also could have sworn when you beat Giovanni he gave you Earthquake, but apparently he gives you Fissure. Earthquake comes from Silphco. This may have just been an update for Yellow though, don't quote me on it. We knock out his Rhydon, easy peasy. And just like that, bam, 3 badges, 1 episode. And with that, we head towards the Pokemon League and trigger another battle with our rival, Rando Brando. He'd like to warm up against us as he heads towards Victory Road. Yeah, okay, we'll see about that one, shit dick. And I'm just trying to switch train this Psyduck up against his whole team. Also take note, he has been to Celadon City, he bought a Firestone to evolve his Eevee. Why the hell didn't he evolve his Execute? I'll tell you though, I'm excited to finally finish Yellow version and move on to something else, because this has been like, I don't know what, 2 months in the making it feels like? We punch our way through Gary, We entered Victory Road. We're stopped by every single random person who's like, "Stop! You need this badge to move forward." So after 8 repeat messages, we fight a guy who's got a Mr. Mime inside Victory Road. And that's going to spawn our next encounter. Which is great, because I don't have to evolve it, and now I have the full evolutionary lion for Ekans. Which is snake backwards. Oh, and I'm training up my Dragonite as I head through Victory Road. I should have caught this Sandslash, but I didn't. Oh great, another Pikachu. Oof. And after so much grinding, Psyduck evolves into Golduck. Fun fact, every time you leave Victory Road, the traps reset themselves. So hours later, here we are. Join us next episode as we literally pulverize the Elite Four in one whole run. Major damage in the Kanto region. We took down 3 gym leaders, we stopped Giovanni twice, we beat Rando Brando twice, and then we finally cleared Victory Road. Now what you're seeing here is I made it to the Indigo Plateau so I could fly to it. I went to Puget City to pick up some escape ropes. I fight my way through Victory Road for a second time to see what the in-game Moltres will spawn us after we defeat it. Well, I guess that solves the answer. Can a pseudo-legendary take a legendary? It would appear not. I probably should have just, went full in with Nidoqueen from the start, but I was just trying to train up these other Mons on my team. We get Executor some experience, and we one-shot it. So usually I just skip right to the part where I go to the glitch, but this time I was feeling like, man, this is going to be a special one. I just knocked out a legend. Let's see what we get. Cloyster. Well, what a letdown. We head over to the route where you can bike and pick up the Doduo, a Ponyta, because Kanto has so many fire types, huh? Okay, so fire types ought to use a lot of special because, they're fire, and it's a Pikachu. That's what spawned from the glitch, another Pikachu. Well, we knew sooner or later this was going to happen. I'm going to take on the Elite Four. I'm not going to do the part where, I save and stop. This is going to be a continuous run, from Lorelei all the way to Gary, aka Rando Brando. Now, I will attempt to train up this Rhyhorn while I do it, just because I'm looking for some experience. I figured this would be a pretty quick way to do it. Plus, the dex is getting pretty full, so, this is something we had to do eventually to get to Mewtwo. Mewtwo should technically be the last Pokemon we catch, but it won't be. So obviously I'm going to trash the Elite Four and the Champion, but why don't you guys make a guess in the comments and figure out whether you think I can complete the Pokedex. So go ahead right now, take a guess, make your comments below, and let me know if you think I can do it. We take down Lorelei, but I don't think I've ever seen Nidoqueen's health so low, so that was almost concerning. We juice our team back up and decide to head into the next room to fight Bruno. For all 4 of you who watch this, I'm curious as to what you'd like to see me play next, because this is the end of Pokemon Yellow. So, regardless if we finish the Pokedex or not, we're moving on to something else. Enough of my rambling though. So Bruno wasn't too tough, we used Zapdos to pretty much clean him out. Agatha seemed like she would have been harder, and maybe she got a few confusion rays off as you're seeing, but she didn't really get the spammer hypnosis like she wanted, and because of that, I pulled a Lance. You don't become champion of Elite Four without learning how to spam full restores. We wipe out Agatha, and then we head to fight Lance, and his sprite looks like a vampire. Has anyone else ever noticed that before? So we take on Dragon Dracula, and we beat down his Water Onyx. One shot! So I actually picked this tip up from speedrunners. Essentially, if you drop an X Accuracy on your Nidoking or Nidoqueen with Horn Drill, it's pretty much a full sweep. Honestly, I just wanted to flex on Lance, because all the times he fucked me over and made my life hard, so I felt like I'd had to be done. There's a new league champion. What a surprise! It's our rival. Who would have seen that coming? Still trying to train up this damn Rhyhorn into a Rhydon. Guys, this feels really surreal. As much time as I've put in this game, this is the last major battle. I should probably savor it and go all out, but in the same breath, I've been doing this run for so long, I'm just ready to be done with it. And I figured I'd just throw it out there. The first time I did something similar to this is when we got the Virtual Console games in 2014, 2015, but even then I didn't go as hard as I did here. I got maybe 130 something, and then I had a friend trade me the rest because he had also picked up a copy of the Virtual Console games. Back to the battle commentary. Clit Oyster really put the hurt on our Zapdos, so we sent out Gengar to finish it. Well, if it isn't the Flareon who was originally an Eevee, who was originally our starter that was stolen from us. I bid thee a final farewell, as fate has given you the wrong trainer. So we beat Rando Brando. Like I said, it was going to be an easy cakewalk thanks to Nidoqueen. And now that Rando Brando has been lectured, we're going to plug our Pokemon in the PC and become the Kanto champion. And it only took us 84 hours to become the Kanto League champion. So now it's time to play catch up and pick up all the Pokemon we didn't pick up earlier on. I'm sure some of you are probably wondering why my Pokedex counter was off at the start of this episode. I actually lost some footage between clearing out clips from episode 5 or 6. I can't remember. Okay, yeah, it was episode 6, this is episode 7. So these were done back to back practically. Essentially, I lost some of the footage and I lost some of the stuff, so checking my Pokedex, this was the number it was when I started. But this is only my second attempt at a Poke Run and my first attempt at an Oaks Challenge, so cut me some slack. I promise these will improve over time. I may also be like, I don't know, balls deep in like 7 different projects at once and kind of losing my mind. So we head over to the power plant and are able to spawn a level 7 Kabutops off of a Magnemite at level 38. So thanks for the high special Magnemite. With little to no effort, we evolve our Caterpie into a Metapod. And shortly after that, we evolve the Metapod into a Caterpie. After we mash A 1,000 times and kill this Magnemite, of course. And there's Butterfree. Alright, so we've broken 130 and oh my god, another Articuno! And then a Zapdos! Inside the power plant, the Magnemite and Magneton specials are spawning a bunch of pseudo-legendaries and legendaries. As you can see, we have our Dragonite beat down another Dragonite just because. We encounter our first Electrode that's wild, and it kills itself. We make our way through the power plant and encounter the true Zapdos we're supposed to fight in game. The only reason we're fighting it is to make our Zapdos feel better, and to see what its special will spawn out for us. It gives us a fucking clit oyster. We go back and we collect the Electrode. Because honestly, I'm tired of having to evolve shit, so if I can get a full form of something, I'm just going to catch it and be done with it. But, well, would you look at that? A Vaporeon spawn. Holy shit. So upon this thing's capture, we also already have the Flareon. We can evolve the Eevee in our PC into a Jolteon, and we'll have the entire Evolution team for Gen 1. Take that, Rando Brando. So I've hit that point where I decided I was going to research what specials I needed to mirror off a Ditto to spawn the Pokemon I'm missing. To encounter Wild Kabuto, you need to see a Pokemon with a special of 90. So by making our Venusaur special 90 and then fighting a Ditto, it copies our special and we can spawn the Pokemon we need. And to be fair, the fact that we got all the way to 133 without having to look anything up, pretty badass, and I'm very proud of myself for that. We get the old Amber from the museum at Pewter City and fly it over to Cinnabar where they can restore it. I talked to literally everybody in this building because my dumbass doesn't think to walk to the final room because I haven't played this game in a long time. With much perseverance, we're able to find the room where we restore fossils and we give him the old Amber so he can turn it back into an Aerodactyl. Funny enough, all you have to do is leave the building and go right back in, and he's like, where were you? Here's your Pokemon. So now we head to Cerulean Cave and take on the unknown dungeon that lies within. Hey, look, a Sandslash. It's almost like now I don't have to regret not catching that one I had a chance to catch. Okay, so the really cool thing about this cave is that it's got a lot of high-powered ground-type Pokemon, which means we can quickly raise up our Venusaur in hopes of grinding its special to the exact number we need to see the few Pokemon we're missing. There he is, there's Mewtwo. Let's fuck him up, but of course this Graveler gets in the way first. Alright, here comes our climactic battle with Mewtwo. I throw a Pokeball, he bounces it, so I say fuck it, and we're gonna Master Ball it, because I ain't got time to fight him. At this point, I'm so tired he's just the number in the dex, so I just Master Balled him and got it over with. Sorry to blue ball anybody who was hoping for like a super climactic battle. We come across the Rhydon and decide I'm tired of training my Rhyhorn, I'm just gonna catch the Rhydon, because I don't need to build my team anymore, this is just about completing the dex. We old school him with a Pokeball, and of course, the classic works. Through some painful manipulation, we're able to make a Weedle spawn. Again, why would you not put Weedle in the game? Like, I don't get it. Once again, we exploit the Ditto glitch and find a Jinx. Then once we catch this Jinx and level up our Kakuna into a Beedrill, I'd say we're pretty close to the end of the dex here. I feel like if you're going to catch Jinx in the wild in Kanto, it would be in the Seafoam Islands. And that little bubble that keeps popping up in the corner, that's my Goosebumps podcast group chat. We're discussing the next episode, so excuse it as I swipe it away. If you guys happen to enjoy Goosebumps, we run the That One Goosebumps podcast on Brandon Snimes' channel, so I guess obligatory shout out to Brandon in this video, as I always do. Heh, trading Pokemon to evolve them? Not today. So, surprisingly, I never picked up a Magikarp, so I decided just to buy one. Didn't grab a Paris because I wasn't sure what I was doing at the time, and I was like, oh, I'll just go back, so I had to go find a Paris. Luckily, the Egg Bomb didn't kill it, but it put it in the red, and we caught it on our first ball. We also need to pick up a Sandshrew, but you can find those right outside Cerulean City, which is great, because we already caught Sandslash, which was in Cerulean Cave. Now that I think about it, that makes a lot of sense. We train up that Doduo we picked up right outside Fuchsia City and all the plant Pokemon. For some reason, according to my Pokedex, I didn't have a Machoke either, so I went and picked one of these up in Victory Road. So once we scoop up the Machoke, we start training up the Ponyta until it's a Rapidash. I checked the dex and go figure I never caught a Ditto, so let's catch the Ditto and put us at 150. The last Pokemon I need to obtain is a Porygon. I can either catch one or buy one, and since I don't feel like grinding up for the money, I'm going to abuse the Ditto glitch. I've got my Pokemon stats to the right number, thanks to a little bit of Carbos and a little bit of grinding in Cerulean Cave. I'm going to show you the exact run-through on how the Ditto glitch works, at least for me, because I know you can find them in the basement of Pokemon Mansion. So, once we click all 3 statue switches, we jump off the ledge, the bigger ledge, we land, we go down the stairs, and now we're in the basement. Now we just gotta find a Ditto, and wow, first try. Make sure you bring an escape rope so now you can escape, because if you encounter something else, the Ditto spawn you just created will be lost. We fly to Lavender Town because that's our home base for the glitch, and there it is. There's Porygon. We did it. We really did. We were able to encounter all 151 Pokemon through Capture Evolution in one game without any trades. Wow, this has been quite an experience. I'm going to show you the Pokedex just to prove I'm not bullshitting. Obviously, you can see it says 151. Let's go show Oak the Pokedex, since this was Oak's challenge we completed, and we're going to go show our Pokedex to the guy who created the game in-game over in Celadon City. My hopes are that maybe you learned something interesting while doing this. Maybe you decided you want to do this yourself. It's tedious, but you could. In the original games, you could get a diploma to print out saying you completed the Pokedex. Final in-game time, 106 hours. So please join us next week as we start our adventure in Pokemon Blue version, DX.